Welcome to this episode of Forgiving the Girl Inside, a Matter of the Heart. I'm your hostess, Lisa Drennon, and today we have the beautiful Kate Whorlow with us. She is a mom of two girls. I like that, mum. It's, it's UK versus US. US, we say mom.
Exactly.
Mom, or mommy.
Yeah, well,
Once in a while.
Yeah, I'm mummy at home, but when their friends are around, I'm mum. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that, mom. So she is a mom of two girls, ages 13 and 11, and the youngest is autistic, and she's had a chronic illness since 1994. She's a natural healing practitioner, and while she's juggling kids, illness, and self-employment, these huge challenges, she has still been able to look at her life and rely on her daily healing journey modalities and the tools that she has implemented, which she is going to share with us today. So thank you so much for being here and for sharing your healing journey. So tell us, what was life like before you hit your darkest moment?
Well, I had my baby, my youngest daughter, and 6 weeks after having her, I had a life-threatening illness. I had acute chronic pancreatitis, and I had to be rushed to hospital when she was 6 weeks old. She literally just started sleeping through the night as well. And I'd had an attack when I was pregnant, but I thought it was kidney stones, but afterwards realised it wasn't. So I was dealing with trying to cope with intensive care for a couple of weeks, and then came out, and I started getting better, and then just kind of realizing, oh my God, I had a bit of a wake-up call really with my life in that one, because the doctors said I was the worst case they'd seen for like decades. So that's kind of quite scary. But then I thought I was actually fine. I thought I was coping with everything fine. And in May, this is like that was January 2010, like about the 4th of January, I went into hospital. And May, I had my gallbladder removed, and I was okay. And I was keeping myself up the whole time, thinking, I'm fine, I'm okay, I've got this. I've got like a young baby, I've got a toddler. My husband's working from home. We're all good. Okay, I've got this. Okay. And then I just kind of slipped, and I didn't really see it coming, because I thought I was fine. I thought I was coping, and I was getting myself better, and I was using all my healing tools, my vitamins, and like the herbs and things, and I was doing all the right things to try and take care of myself. But I wasn't really taking care of myself. I was still trying to cope with the newborn and the toddler at the same time, and my husband, like, working from home, and I had to try and keep the kids quiet because he was at home all the time, and then try and take them out. And luckily my eldest has started nursery at this point, so she was like, for one day a week she was in nursery, so I got my youngest and I used to go out on our own, just to get out of the house kind of thing. And it wasn't really until the October that year that suddenly it kind of everything has crashed. And we were living in the rented accommodation, and they do inspections every 6 months in the UK when you have a rented accommodation, which is really stressful, especially when you're a mum of two little ones. Your house is never tidy. It's funny how much you try, you just can't keep on top of it. I mean, I'm not the tidiest person anyway, so it doesn't help. But when you're already trying to recover from an illness as well, and then with two under the age of 2, trying to explain to a letting agency, thinking like, well, can we just put it off by a few months, like just after Christmas perhaps? It's not really urgent, is it? I mean, it's like we're not going anywhere. But then they insisted on it. But then I literally got to a point where I snapped, and I went, no, I'm not doing this inspection. I'm not doing it. I just like put everything down, going, nope. And I just went to my bedroom, sat on my bed, and then I didn't leave my bedroom for a month. And I don't even remember the black cloud coming, but suddenly I was just under this black cloud, and I couldn't get out of it. And I was sitting there, and I just felt I didn't care about anything. I didn't want to wash. I didn't want to take care of myself. I didn't want to go downstairs to eat food or meals with the rest of the family. I didn't want my eldest daughter anywhere near me, and that was really bizarre. And she's only a toddler, she didn't understand why his mum does not want me near her, kind of thing. My youngest baby was in the cot in the bedroom with us still, and she basically didn't leave the cot. I mean, I got her out for feeding and changing a nappy, and like she's still cared for. My husband took her downstairs to play and then came back up again. But I don't know why, I couldn't talk to my husband about it. I felt I couldn't talk to anyone about it. And a couple of weeks went past, and it was the most horrible feeling when you feel completely hopeless. You feel like you're suddenly all the doubts that you've been pushing to the back of your mind for being a mum for any length of time suddenly kind of all come to the forefront, and you start thinking the worst of everything. I'm a really bad mum. I mean, what future can I give my children if I can't even get myself better? And I've got the house a mess, and I can't cope with anything, and nobody's going to help me. Why do I even bother asking? Because no one's going to help me anyway, so I don't bother asking. So I'm just going to sit here, and all of these wallowing thoughts just kept going around in my head, and it just felt like I sunk into this huge hole, and I couldn't get myself out again. So that month kind of went past in the blur. I didn't really know how long I'd been sitting there until I realized afterwards it had been a month. And then one day my husband just couldn't get me to do anything. I wouldn't leave the house, nothing at all. And he's like going, and I didn't want him near me either. It was literally, I couldn't bear even to talk to him. And he's like, and he didn't know what to do. He just carried on. Thankfully, being a huge rock, carried on taking care of the kids, realizing that obviously I was going through something. But the thing is, when I had my eldest daughter, he'd come with me to the antenatal classes, and they'd spoken about postnatal depression. And so he said, and I was thinking, well, I already knew about this because my mum had it. So kind of I said, oh yeah, I know all the symptoms. This, I'm fine. Looks like, no, what do I know? And he said he's really interested to find out about it, because he says, I want to, just in case it happens, I want to know what to look out for. And thankfully, I think he saw that I was going through it, but he didn't quite know how to cope with it, because he's still trying to take care of the kids and work full time at the same time. I don't even know how he did it in that first month, to be honest. But then
that must have been such strength for both of you to do that, because just to have that, I mean, your body was going through so much physical change, yes, with the pregnancy and the hormones, and then you had the pancreatitis, right? Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, that would set in, and that alone, I mean, our hormones are so messed up. Like after you have a baby, people don't understand. And it's really common for people to go into post-depression, but to lock yourself in the bedroom for a whole month, not have any contact, and then to have that support system from him. What a beautiful picture of just that constant support. So I'm so glad that he was there with you and wanted to learn and wanted to be there for you, and
exactly,
helped you through that. So how did you get out of it? How did you realize? I mean, 30 days is a long time.
It is a long time. I don't know. I just suddenly came to, it's almost like suddenly a light just came on somewhere. And I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, this isn't me. I'm usually the one that is always saying, don't worry about stuff until you have to worry about it. And don't think about what bad stuff can happen. Focus on the good stuff. And I was one who, I teach about this. I teach clients about how to bring in positive energy into their lives, and how to ignore ego, and to understand that is not you, that's just your ego saying you can't do this, and you're rubbish at this, and why would you even bother trying that one? I mean, it's going to fail anyway. And trying to actually ignore that. And I'm thinking, how come I'm sitting here and all I've done for the past month is listen to that? And that's not me. What on earth is going on? And I thought, oh, hang on. I'm wondering if perhaps I've got postnatal depression, because I can't think of what else it would be. Now I've had a chronic illness, so as you said, since 1994. I've got ME, which is a combination of chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. And so I've had depressive episodes with that, but it wasn't the same kind of depression. Depression with ME is kind of is more, not really depression, it's more just completely fed up of being ill all the time and being tired, going, I can't do this again because I'm too tired to do this. It was a completely different feeling. This postnatal depression was just, it was literally like I had fallen into a black hole and I did not know how to get out of it. I did not know how to pull myself out of it. But when I actually realized that it was different and this wasn't like the ME kind of depressive instance, I thought, okay, right, I need help, because I don't have the tools to deal with this particular type of depression. So I actually eventually got out of my bedroom, had a bath, got dressed, and I went and I said to my husband, okay, I need to go and see the health visitor. And he said, okay, fine. So he dropped me off just as my eldest was about to come out of nursery. So I had about half an hour before she came out of nursery. And I took the youngest one with me. And I didn't have an appointment or anything. I just turned up and I said, I need to speak to a health visitor today. And I waited a bit, and they brought me in and I managed to speak to someone. And they said, oh, how can we help you? Okay. I said, I think I have postnatal depression. And they went, oh, okay, that's cool. And they said, actually, and they're saying, you know what, the fact that you've actually admitted that to yourself and you've actually come out and asked for help. Since so many women don't do that and they don't know that, and don't know how to do that. It doesn't even occur to them to actually reach out and ask for help. And he said, you've made the huge first step all on your own by just admitting that, not admitting is the wrong word, but kind of realizing and that you've actually, this isn't you, that this is something that needs to be treated. And they say that's an amazing first step to take. And I said, well, I didn't feel that way, but I just knew that this wasn't me and there's something is wrong. And this is not who I am, because I'm usually the happier one that tries to keep everyone happy. And maybe that was my downfall as well, is the fact that I was trying to keep everyone else happy, but then not really thinking about what I needed myself to stay happy, to be happy, to actually feel more like myself. And when I actually spoke to the health visitor, we had a really long chat, and then went and picked my eldest up from nursery. I then went home and I had a really long chat with my husband, and I just explained to him, and I said, look, I'm not blaming you for how I'm feeling, because this is how I'm feeling. I said, I know you're doing everything you can to keep a roof over our heads. You're working full time. You'll be taking care of the younger ones for me, but I need some time on my own away from the children, and I need to do things that I love to do in order to find out who I am again. Because right now, all I feel like is I'm just a mother. I'm just a wife. I'm just a daughter. I'm just a sister, but I'm not actually me. I'm not doing things just for myself. I'm trying to keep everyone else happy and at peace and keeping everything together, but I'm not actually doing anything for myself. And I said, my husband is a photographer, so at that point he was working full-time for a company, but also part-time. He was going out and taking photographs in the evening for sunsets and sunrise as well, and selling his work online and at fairs and things. But I felt like he was always doing his thing, and I wasn't doing anything I wanted to do. And I wasn't blaming him, but it's kind of how I saw everything, even though I knew really that he was doing all this in order to keep us afloat, because I wasn't working, because I just had the baby. So once we'd actually kind of sat down and really talked about that, he understood that actually, yes, okay, yeah, you're right, we can't carry on like this, because it's not helping my health either. And so we just kind of came to an arrangement that maybe on one day a week, I would go out to shops on my own, even just for half an hour without the children, or go and get a massage or something. Just like
me time. Me time is so important. I mean, we don't realize, especially as moms, how important it is to take care of ourselves and to realize that. And I love how you had that, the power of asking for help is what got you to get out of that bedroom, and get back involved with your family, because your children needed you, your husband needed you. And the self-talk, I just want to go back and revisit that. Our thoughts are so important. I'm an energetic mindset mentor, and we talk about captivating our thoughts. But if that's where a person came knocking on your door, would you let them in? And these negative thoughts, I had a conversation on Instagram with somebody earlier about feeling shame and guilt, for past mistakes, past choices. And it is a choice. It is a choice to choose. But we believe these lies that, who do we compare ourselves to? Like, you can literally get yourself in this position and think of these things, but when you can stop and say, no, I'm not going to entertain this negative thought, because I am special, I am well loved, I am valued, I am worthy. And to recognize that in yourself, and then realize, we need a plan. We need to take an action plan. What's the goal? What's the action step? I'm going to go out once a week with my friends, and we're going to get this break. So yay to you. I just want to, like, if I can clap, I would clap. My arms in a sling, so I'll just like snap my fingers. But that's awesome. So when you started your journey of going out and healing, I saw that you, in the interview application, you had put some modalities that you use. Tell us some more about the herbal teas that you do and the aromatherapy. Share that modality with us.
Okay, thanks. Well, so I have been an aromatherapist since, my goodness, 95. I qualified 95, 98 it was. And so I qualified as an aromatherapist and massage therapist. And then I, just after my dad died, I started getting more into spiritual therapies, because I had lots of questions about what happens when you die. How can someone just die and just not be there, and suddenly where's the soul gone? And but then after about a couple of months after he died, I actually started getting visitations from him. So I had lots of questions about spiritual, but when people have passed over and what happens to them and where do they go and that kind of thing, and how to talk to them. So I also had lots of angel experiences when I was having healing sessions, to trying to help with the grief of losing my dad. And it was through these healing sessions, when I started having more angelic experiences, that I realized that I wanted to learn more about it. So I trained to be an angel therapy practitioner, and that was in 2005, and then a theta healing practitioner as well. And then about 2004, I started doing a herbal medicine degree at university, because I really wanted to find a way to heal the ME, and not necessarily heal it completely, because some people have healed completely, and my sister actually has as well. But I just wanted a better quality of life for me, and to work out maybe why I got ME in the first place, what was going on in my life around that time when I was first diagnosed, and if there was a way that maybe it was more of an emotional thing that I was going through rather than a physical thing. And actually, when I started doing all the healing work, I realized it was a lot of emotions going through around at that point. I was in a job that I really hated at that time. I loved the job, I just didn't like necessarily the people I was working with. I got kind of picked on and bullied quite a lot. So I had a lot of emotional stuff going on, a lot of stress going on that time. And so by learning all the different healing modalities, it really helped me to actually go into remission with the ME in like 99, I think it was. But then I crashed again, and I'm thinking, why have I crashed again? That's really bizarre. So I was always kind of like an ongoing journey, trying to work out what works, what doesn't. But then when I had the postnatal depression, I was thinking, I need to go back to my healing modalities, because I hadn't done that for a couple of years since having the kids, because I couldn't really have the stuff out, the aromatherapy oils, essential oils, rather, perfect things that toddlers like to grab. So they're always up high or out the way, and then I just kind of I got out of practice of using them. So I started reaching out for them again. So I started making my aromatherapy blends to help in the bath and the shower, and just pulse point gels, rollerballs rather, and studying all the essential oils again that are good for postnatal depression. They're good for emotional healing, to actually, and also trauma as well, because I'd had quite a traumatic birth of my eldest, because she was born by emergency C-section, because she got well and truly stuck. I mean, so stuck that they had to actually push her back to actually be able to give birth to her. And I had to have an emergency C-section to get her out. So that was traumatic in itself. Then she wouldn't breastfeed because I didn't know at that point that when they're born by emergency C-section, they don't have the natural sucking reflex, because they're not pushed through the birth canal, which kind of activates that sucking reflex when they're born. And she didn't have that because she was born by C-section. So that caused a lot of problems with breastfeeding. I blame myself for probably really until I had my youngest, actually, that I'll not be able to feed her properly. And really kind of like blame myself for that. Like, well, what was I doing wrong? Why can I produce enough milk for her? Why can I? And it's always, again, it's like just kind of accumulated, really. When my youngest daughter was born, she took to breastfeeding straight away because she was born naturally. And it was bliss. I loved breastfeeding, absolutely loved it. But then, of course, being ill when she was 6 weeks old, that put paid to the breastfeeding because of all the drugs I was on in the hospital. My milk dried up. So that again made me feel guilty afterwards. And I think that probably was part and parcel of the postnatal depression as well. There's all this kind of guilt that kind of just layered and layered and layered over the years, and then just kind of crashed at the end of it. So I went back to my roots with the herbal medicine. I was looking into herbs to try and kickstart the breastfeeding, to try and increase my milk supply. I was looking into herbs that would help me emotionally, to heal. I was also doing a lot of spiritual healing on myself and really looking at kind of forgiveness techniques for myself, to kind of peel back the layers again. So, okay, how did I get to this bit? How did I get so bad that I forgot to care about myself? And through there's another, I was thinking about it the other day, and I can't remember the name of the lady who I was healer. I was doing her sessions. It was just like online, kind of like a podcast thing. But it was really powerful, just forgiveness techniques, just ways of like taking that energy out of your system, your aura, and just kind of like, you don't need that. Let's take that right out and let's give it back to the universe. Let them just do what they need to do to ground it or transmute it into positive energy, or go back to the light. And then just constantly just clearing my energy and doing energy clearing techniques. There's one that I use, which is I call it soul fragments, and I don't know if that's the actual word for it, but it's a technique we were taught when I was doing angel therapy, and it's to remove all the soul fragments that are embedded in yourself, in your aura and in your body, which actually don't belong to you. They're not your soul fragments, they're other people's. So they're people who have said something to you. It might have even just literally just interacted on an email, or interacted on a text message or online, and not actually physically in the same room, but they've affected you in some way. So it might be something completely offhand that didn't mean anything at the time, but somehow you might have just thought, actually that wasn't a very nice thing to say, or just something, any kind of, and even if somebody has thought something about you, and subconsciously they're still sending that energy to you, even though you don't necessarily are not aware of it. It's still your soul still, or your body, your astral body still attracts that and takes hold of it, and it's in your kind of in your I suppose in your aura and your energy body. So
our brains are so powerful, and when we read something or hear something, it affects us. And
yes,
I had that similar situation. I was scrolling Facebook and somebody had said something, had shared what they were doing, and that was supposed to be me, but I turned it down, and I thought, oh, just think that would have been me, but I decided to go another route, and like, how does that affect me? And then there was an incident that led up to it that brought back a memory, and then I entertained that memory, and I started went down this rabbit hole of, well, I don't have any good friends, I haven't seen this person, I haven't done this, I had surgery and nobody's reaching out to me, and I went through this whole thing. I'm like, okay, I have to stop. I have what they call a processing sheet. So there's actually a class called the Healing Journey that's offered. It's starting next week. But it's a 29-week class, and you go through and you process like these limiting beliefs that you have, and you identify the feeling and who the person is, and you basically go through like a grieving forgiveness process similar to what you're talking about. And it's so important because when you speak that out loud, that's going to start that healing. That's going to start that grieving. And so many people think you shouldn't grieve it. You should just stuff it. And that's so wrong, because then it just manifests itself as physical pain. I have this whole thing. My daughter studied psychology, and she sent me this whole thing on how pain manifests itself in the body. And there's this whole description of, it's called, mapping stored emotions in the body as means of healing physical pain. And you can get it at thejoyfulapproach.com. But it's an incredible tool just to identify, like if you have chronic back pain or headaches or something like that, it could very well be related to this emotion. And I know a lot of healers will use visualization. I'm a certified aroma freedom practitioner. So we'll go through and we'll identify the feeling in our body to where that pain is being associated with, and connect that and breathe through that and focus on that to heal from it. And it's incredible. And we just, I don't know, like a lot of times people don't understand, like, I have pain and I don't, I'm afraid to deal with it because I don't want to relive those memories. But you're not reliving the memories, you're healing, you're processing them so that you can be freed from them. So that's incredible. So do you work with clients one-on-one, or do you do group coaching?
Mainly one-on-one at the moment, but only because I haven't really had the right, because with the children just gone back to school this week, I haven't been
more
able to
free time.
And exactly. 6 hours piece. But I tend to work one-on-one. But I think it's because I really like to get in deep with the clients.
Yeah.
And I feel like just you have more space to do that one-on-one. I mean, I love doing group work as well, but I think I like the deeper work with a one-on-one.
Awesome. How can
you can really just hold space and then
how can our audience connect with you? You have a website, or what's the best way to reach out to you?
Well, my website is for my herbal tea blends at the moment, but you can still on Instagram is the best place to get hold of me, which is at Time For Me Teas, and it's it's just a time for me. It's a word for, so time then for me teas, and I set that up because I wanted to create herbal tea blend, something easy for mums in particular, to just take just 5 minutes themselves each day to just stop and breathe. And my tagline is breathe, be present, recharge. So it's to take a moment as the kettle's boiling to just breathe and just get back into your body, and get sort of grounded into your body, and to be really present and think, okay, right, what do I want to release today? What do I want to attract? Or do I just want to do absolutely nothing for 5 minutes and just enjoy this cup of tea? And I do loads of different blends, energizing ones, relaxing ones. I've also got a chakra range coming out probably next year now, because we've got around to Christmas at the moment. But I also want to do is also like an astrology range as well, because I also do astro herbalism as well. So if you want to contact me, Instagram is the best place because I tend to check that the most. I'm also on Facebook, but I tend to use that more for family stuff or on the business stuff, because the algorithm on Facebook is a bit annoying. So Instagram is easier, but my website is timeformeteas.co.uk. So I've got information on there as well. But just contact me through Facebook and Instagram rather, and we can have a chat. I'm still doing the healing work. At the moment, I'm kind of focusing more on my herbal tea blends because I'm doing all the physical fairs are opening up again in the area. So I'm doing a lot more in-person fairs. But I'm always open for the healing work as well. So we can always arrange something together for that.
Well, that's awesome. We'll definitely have the links in the description to connect with Kate, and be sure to follow her over on Instagram. And if you know anyone who would benefit from listening to this podcast, or on YouTube, please share it. Please hit the subscribe. And if you're led, leave a review. And remember, we're all on a daily healing journey. It's all a matter of the heart.